We did $10 million in 90 days on Shopify. We ended up winning Skool games in November of last year. And I just realized what he was doing was not that complex. I noticed every like 8 and 9 figure brand was all running LPs. Like 90% of them, just be clear, tell people what they want to hear and give them a reason to keep going down. We actually found a new visual performed better. And then Sean literally edited the ads and like came up with the videos. And then that one video went and did like $1 million in sales for the brand. That's when me and Sean figured out the creative stuff. He did $43 million in January. The brand is 2.5 years old or something like that. And he doesn't do any creative strategy.
Spencer, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. It's a pleasure to have you.
What's going on, man?
Can we just get right into it? So you guys run EZA. I know we were kind of talking about, just a few seconds ago, how that's kind of evolving now. But can you just walk me through your kind of backstory and where you're at today?
Yeah. How far back do you want me to go? You want I'll try to keep it somewhat short, but yeah. So, I mean, I guess I was a COVID graduate is what I tell people. And I think that's how we met. We met through Emon's network, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was like 2020-ish. And I wanted to get into like the make money online space because I just came back from college. I used to play baseball. And anyway, long story short, I got into eCom in 2021. But I was side questing in crypto because that's when crypto was going crazy. And so like that first year, I don't even really count it because I think we got like 2 clients or something like that. It still helped, but I had like 2 clients. And then getting into 2022, it was still kind of crypto heavy. But then I got absolutely wrecked by the market like a lot of people did, and I was like, oh wow, there goes all my money. So then I had to figure out the agency, and so that's where we put a little bit more intent into it, and then we learned a lot. And then 2023 I just kind of went all in on it, and then we kind of branched. I would say like we made a big leap, not branched out, but like made a big leap in 2024. So last year to take it seriously. That's when I know we were talking pre-call about Eddie, but I went to one of Eddie's events, shout out to Eddie, and he was talking about how he had this 200 person team and they were going to do like over 20 million. And I was like, holy cow. I was like, I want that. So I was like, let's scale. And so I went hardcore trying to scale as much as I can or much as I could. And we got to a point where we were up to like 30 people. But in the process of doing that, I actually built a program to train my team. That was my initial idea. So I was like, okay, I'm going to need to hire a bunch of people. And in order to do that, I'm going to have to train them. And so if I got to train them, I might as well build a program because I don't want to, train everybody one-to-one. And so it was actually my partner, Sean, now, who mentioned like, bro, what if we just sold this to people? And I was like, yeah, sure. Why not? Like, let's, a couple $100, let's do it. And then that kind of started Evolve. You mentioned Evolve, but Evolve is actually the consulting program. It's like a branch of the agency now. And that thing just took off like a rocket ship, man. Sean took to Twitter, started going crazy on like just sharing everything that we were doing, which was like it was like a marketing masterclass for me. And then anyway, long story short, Evolve scaled up really hard. We ended up winning Skool games in November of last year and got to go meet, Mr. Hermosi. I call him Dad. But no, I'm just kidding. But we met Hermosi, met Sam. That was pretty cool. And then, we just kind of doubled down to actually, again, shout out to Eddie again, went to the event in 2025 January this year. I did a presentation on everything that we did because Evolve just scaled up massively. I think to win Skool games, we closed like over 50 grand in a single month just for Evolve, which was crazy. And the thing is like when you're running an agency, if you were to close 50K in new deals this month, like your agency would probably break. I know mine would. So it was just like a different experience to see that. And then what ended up happening is, we just doubled down and now Evolve is just, we're actually the number one. I mean, for now, there's a guy that I'm chatting to. He's pretty close to taking the GOAT status from us, but we're the number one community on all of Skool now. So we have that just as this massive consulting with really, and we thought it was going to be like a lot of beginner brands, but like there's huge brands in there. Like there's dudes doing like $6, $7, $8 million a month in there. So we have like, that is the big thing. And so long story short, the agency is still, I already said that, but the agency is still there. But it's more of like a boutique firm now where we're just trying to work, as we were talking before this, work with really big brands and just do really cool stuff. We've got a team of about 15 over there now. And so it works really well because we go super deep and nerd out on how to scale these bigger brands. And then we just share it with everyone that's in the consulting program. And so that's what we're doing now, man. So we're just kind of enjoying it, trying to, figure out as many ways as we can to scale. I mean, our whole game is ads. I don't know if I mentioned that, but just really trying to find ways to spend as much as we physically can profitably on our clients, and obviously showing everybody else how we do it as well.
Very cool. I do want to come on to Evolve and the community and what you've built there because it is insane. But just sticking with the agency to start with, how did your kind of service offering evolve over time from the start of 2020? And yeah, what are you guys doing for brands today?
Yeah, that's a really, and I think this is something that a lot of agencies went through. I mean, the original business model was, hey, turn on Facebook ads, right? I mean, back in 2021, 2022, it was just, hey, you're running Facebook ads. It's like, no, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, I got you. You know, turn it on, boom, you're scaling. That most people, and that's like now when you sign up for Shopify, it's like, here's your plug-in to Facebook ads. Like everybody knows to run Facebook ads. And so we had to figure out how to drive performance. And it wasn't until like 2022, 2023 when we started testing creative that we were like, oh, that's what like makes performance. And so we saw that, kind of completed a feedback loop, and we were looking at it. Okay, well, media buying doesn't really do much anymore, so let's just focus on creative. And so I started building out a team to get like video editors and graph designers and copywriters and that kind of stuff. And then that's just where we were jamming for a long time. And then we ended up, I always kind of had a CRO background, sort of, because I actually started when I was just early days building websites. So I always had this website nature in me. So we were doing CRO as well. But we built this mega CRO team, and I could talk about CRO forever, but it was a mess because it's, for most brands, unless you're doing like 1 million a month, you don't need traditional CRO. And what I mean by traditional CRO is split testing everything, going to the website, hey, test this button or that button, or that's what most people think. But hey, let's test, adding reviews here or videos here or changing this or changing that, and waiting for statistical significance. Most of our brands that we were working with at the time just didn't have enough traffic to do that. So it was just a giant waste. But the point is so we always had some form of CRO, but that's also evolved. And so now if we actually take a look at where we're at today, we still do the media buying for a lot of brands because it's just very simple. And anybody who maybe has seen my stuff before, we're very like, hey, don't overcomplicate media buying, just keep it simple. But you still need someone to upload the ads. And then we have two types of creative engines, is what we call them. So one is our creative strategy, where we're just focusing on high intent creatives. Our best creative type right now is storytelling. So any kind of like storytelling ads absolutely crush. So we have a team that's just dialed in on that, of course, doing statics and that too. And then we have our content engine, is what we call it, where it's our UGC system, where we're bringing in creators and we're trying to train them to become really good, again, storytellers, or really good at making viral videos that we can run as ads. And so we've been doubling down on that. And then the CRO program evolved into now just landing pages, because we realized that for all of our brands, most of them got the biggest lift from just LPs. We've taken multiple brands from spending like 30, 40, 50K a month to six figures a month, 200, 300K a month, just by getting a proper funnel in place. And so we were like, well, let's just do more of that because that's working. So now the agency service system is all about our goal. What we tell everybody is, hey, we're hired to do one thing, and that's to increase spend profitably. That's it. And so obviously increasing spend is very simple. You just click a button, change budget from here, add a zero. But to actually be able to get that reward, you have to do a lot of work. And so again, the three things that we do are, creative strategy, content, so UGC stuff, and then landing pages. And if we do those three good enough, then the reward is we're able to scale. So that's kind of where we started. It was just a media buying agency that would build you a website if you wanted to pay us. And then from there, we're at the point where we're pretty streamlined and systemized on, hey, we're just focused on scaling Meta. We do run some ads on platforms like AppLovin and TikTok, but at the end of the day, the thing that makes those platforms work is the creative. And so that's where most of the team is and where everybody is really focused on now for scaling our brands.
Yeah. So the two levers for success are creative and the landing page you push that traffic to.
Yeah, I would say the three is like creative, lander, and offers are huge. Like we've been,
Can we dig into that? Because a lot of people throw the term offer around. What does an offer mean, and what do you mean by like it's almost the most important thing in that part?
that's a great question. I think most people start off offer is like price and like what it is that you're selling. Like, yes, it is price, and price is a huge point or a huge part of it. But offer is really how you package it. And it's not just price, it's a lot of things. I actually have a video that I'll be putting out about this. But the point is how you present it. So for example, if you we've seen brands increase their price and go from selling one to just saying, hey, buy one, get one free. And even though like it's the same price or maybe a little bit more expensive, it's just more perceived value. And so we've done that with a lot of brands where we would just come in, they don't have any offers, and we'll just implement on a landing page. And again, this is for our landing pages for your website. That's your home base. Do what you want with it. But for us, we're focused on building landing pages with specific offers. And so we'll implement like a buy two, get one free. And what that does is that bumps AOV, it bumps perceived value. So when AOV goes up and conversion rate goes up, or at least conversion rate stays the same, you can scale more. So buy two, get one free is like an offer that we run all the time, or even just throwing in things like, for example, if you have complementary products, you can throw them in as well to add more perceived value. Another thing that we do as well, because again, it's not just all about the price point and the offer, even though that is really important. It's also about how you package it. So do you have any risk reverse? Like a lot of people just say 30-day satisfaction guarantee, but how can you go deeper on that? How can you make that more branded? How could you maybe, even include stats? Like there's a really great brand called Norse Organics, and they have an incredible page that says like 96% of people get results from this or are acne free from using our product, right? Makes me feel a lot more confident it's going to work. Another thing that they do is they have, hey, we've sold out 12 times in the last year. It's not guaranteed. So scarcity, like implementing that stuff, right? And then even going back to the Hermosi, speaking of him, his offer equation, like just looking at that and trying to break it down. How can you increase the perceived likelihood of achievement, and then also how can you remove any risk or effort or time delay and that kind of stuff. So having fast shipping or just packaging it and giving like free shipping for certain orders above AOV. So offers is a lot of different things. I know I just went all over the place with that, but just understand it's like look at everything that comes into kind of the purchase decision. Price is a really big thing, and that's where I think a lot of people, as a final point on this, and then I'll shut up, is the idea that people think high AOV is the best, where it's actually not true. Like I would take a $30 AOV and a 10% conversion rate over a $300 AOV, like, and a 0.5% conversion rate. Cause it's about your revenue per session, or for a lot of nerds, profit per session, because conversion is the biggest thing. I could sell something for $1 million, but if nobody buys it, it doesn't matter. Right. But if you can find the sweet spot between your price point and the amount of people that actually buy it, that's where all of the gains are made. And so many people just get stuck in like, I have to have 80% gross margin and I have to charge this. It's like, no, you don't. Just do the math to figure out if 100 people show up and only one person buys it, and you have 70% margins. Okay, well, let's just go down to 65. And then when we have another 100 people show up, 3 of them will buy it. And now you're actually making more money. And then if you're playing the LTV game, well, now you're making a lot more money. So that's the biggest thing. I think when it comes to offer, know your numbers is my biggest thing I would tell you. And then from there, look at everything else that contributes to it. The scarcity factor, the risk reversal, and again, just likelihood that it's actually going to work.
Okay. The way I or what I kind of take from that is there's two main things that you can look at. So one is the positioning, so the scarcity, urgency, how do you market that on the page? But then it's like, what are you actually giving people? So whether it's a, buy one, get one free, whatever. On that second point, what would you say are the kind of top things that people can test to create a good offer?
I think there's no. I know people want like a one size fits all. I think it's just different for every brand, honestly. But what I would say the top things to test is just be logistical about it. Like for example, we see people where maybe you have a really good example is like a humidifier. We actually have this brand that we work with that sells humidifiers. Um, and logically, you probably just think like, oh, I only need one humidifier. But what we did, which was really creative, is we said, hey, if you have a studio apartment, you probably only need one. But if you have a 2-bedroom apartment and you want like your living room and your bedroom with a humidifier, you should probably buy 2. Right. And now, rather than just saying like buy 1, buy 2, or buy 3, it actually makes sense for why someone would buy 2. And so my point with this is like, make sure it actually makes sense for people to like buy more. But I would say bundles are the number one thing I would test right away, because they can increase your AOV and they can a lot of the times increase conversion rate. And if you do them the right way and they make sense. So I would say bundles are something that everybody should test, but again, it's going to be different from brand to brand. And then the other thing is just trying to find the sweet spot, like I said, between price and conversion rate. There's tools that you can test with Intelligems, which is pretty expensive and it takes a long time. So what we've started doing, a lot of people forget Meta has an incredible algorithm. We just test new offers right inside of our CBO campaigns. So we'll just we'll duplicate our ad, whatever our top ad is, and we'll just send it to a new page with like a new price point or a new offer. And if it gets a high ROAS, then we're just going to scale it. Like, and then we get the data within 2 days or 3 days rather than waiting 2 or 3 weeks, or for some people, depending what size they're at, 2 to 3 months. And so I'm very impatient. So I want to get data fast. It's one of our like core values is move fast. But to get back on track, the point that I would make is bundles, and then just testing different price points even early on is just trying to find the sweet spot between, like I said, conversion and overall profitability, because that's where I think most brands fall short and they don't realize it. And because I've just seen so many brands, I can't tell you how many offers I've looked at where I'll look at an offer and I'll be like, what are you doing? Like I was just talking to this guy before this. He was like selling one product for like $13. I was like, why? I was like, just bundle three of them. He's like, oh, I never thought of that. There you go, man. Like make that your default. Don't even give people the option to buy one because it's just never going to work. So bundles for sure. And then, like I said, price point and conversion.
Okay. And what are your thoughts on including in bundles like digital products and kind of other things like that that don't have a marginal cost of goods sold?
Yeah, they can work. I mean, they just have to be good more than anything. I think a lot of people, when they think of that, will just put together some random PDF with ChatGPT and be like, it's worth this amount. I was like, bro, nobody's buying that. Like, so yeah, can they work? Yeah, for sure. But just try to make them valuable. I think there's a lot of great ways, and the other thing that I would say is try to sell things that are actually based on your cost of goods rather than or like have a higher perceived value than actual value. A lot of people will just give a dollar amount off. So they'll say, save $100. With a lot of our bigger brands, what we try to do is like sometimes we spin up offers that increase conversion rate and the margin actually gets better. And so you can do that by, for example, just if you charge $20 for a product, right? And your cost for that is say five, well, that's $20 of value to someone that only costs you five. You know what I'm saying? And so you can start to show and give a lot of value just with other complementary products. And to your question, ebooks and stuff like that as well. But just keep in mind that they have to be good, like they have to be quality. And is somebody going to make the decision to buy or not based on an ebook? Probably not. But if you can, again, increase the perceived value, and if it's low cost add on, or even then, for example, people a lot of times like charge a little premium for, hey, make sure it's delivered 100% guarantee, like shipping protection. Or I've seen some brands throwing out like lifetime, even though they have a lifetime warranty, they've actually gone back from just stating that for free and just saying, hey, add a lifetime warranty for an extra $3 or $4. And so those kinds of little things as well are great ways to kind of pick up a couple extra dollars to help with cost of goods and stuff like that, but have a high perceived amount of value. So yeah, there's, again, not to get too off track, but to your point, ebooks and stuff like that can work. They just have to be good. But I think there's a lot of ways to add perceived value through your other products. And if you make the right complementary products, it could be a really great way for you to increase AOV, increase margin, and scale a lot further.
Nice. Okay. Can you give us or the audience maybe three offers that you see that you like the look of that they can go check out?
I think Norse Organics, if you guys look them up, and there's a really good tool that we use, it's called Atria. And what that allows you to do is go in and actually, it's like foreplay ad spy type of thing. It's the same tool. They're just, Atria is a little bit cheaper, I think, with because it also includes like motions stuff. But anyway, you can go and search up a brand and you can see their top LPs. And this is where I had a bit of a breakthrough is I noticed every like 8 and 9 figure brand was all running LPs. Like 90% of them, their top ads or their top traffic landing point from Facebook was an LP because it's like you're dealing with a new customer that knows nothing about you. So that's how we found a lot of these brands. But Norse Organics is a really great one. They have this really good LP that's just all testimonial driven, which is super sick. I think Miracle Brand, so try.miracle brand.co, I think it is another really good LP that is like a 6 reasons why listicle that helps people understand their product and can actually go, you'll see their offer. It's another really funny one because if you go to their homepage or you go to their website, they've got the product for like $180. And then you go to the landing page and it's like 110 and they have like 8 things for free. So I think those two are really good. And then another good one to just keep an eye on is like Javi Coffee or Rise. Like those guys have really good offers. And I think anytime you look at the bigger brands, I wouldn't say just copy their offers, just be observant. And I think that's the biggest thing is you do have to copy and paste first, but the people that we see like really scaling, especially in Evolve, is the ones that actually understand and see the strategy behind it, and then they can take that and apply it to their brand. But I would say those two for sure, and then taking a look at some other brands through Atria, any brand that you can think of that you like, go and check them out on there, and you'll probably find their top LPs and see what they're doing from an offer standpoint.
Okay. And would you say that, brands should be testing new offers monthly or kind of on an ongoing basis?
I think so. I mean, to be honest, we had this brand that we brought on a couple of months ago. Last month, we built 20 landing pages for them, and I don't think most people will build like one landing page, like they'll copy and paste one listicle and be like, oh, landing pages don't work. It's like, imagine if you just tested one ad, or imagine you sent one email campaign, Jordan, and it didn't work. Like, email doesn't work. It's like, come on, man. So I would say you could test them monthly is fun. But again, it just kind of depends. Like if you find an offer that starts hitting and starts ripping, try to think like I kind of go off of gut. It's like, can I make this better, or do I think I can make this better? Or if something new, you have a new complementary product come out, or you have a new idea, like test it. I don't think there's a right number, and I try to give people some kind of like, a lot of my answers are very like not exactly what to do, which I apologize for. But I would say, yeah, if you can test one or two, but it also depends where like if you're stuck and if you're super plateaued, I definitely look at offer, and I would start testing offers for sure. But if you're scaling and ripping, I would just look to optimize creatives and just better customer journeys and the natural like more CRO stuff. But you could test offers as much as you want. I'd say for most of our brands, we probably test like one or two a month.
Okay. And then you've obviously brought up landing pages quite a bit. What is important? Like, what are the key levers on that side of the offer?
I think a lot of people think it's everything to do with like the design and this element and that element and having this timer and all that. And those things can work. But for me, it's really three big things. The first one is above the fold. And if you don't know what above the fold is, it's when you load up the website on your phone. It's like, what's the first thing you see without scrolling? That's above the fold. That needs to be extremely dialed. That's almost like your hook in an ad. It's like the first 3 seconds, same thing on the LP. So dialing that in and making sure that gives the user a reason to actually scroll and go down and learn more. I see so many headlines that are just unclear and trying to be clever. Is just be clear, tell people what they want to hear, and give them a reason to keep going down. And then the other thing that I would say is it's all about messaging, man. I've seen hideous pages, what like you would look at them and be like, there's no way this converts, and it's just absolutely crushing because the messaging is so dialed in. So the better that you can write, copywriting is still, I know it's this skill that so many people think is gonna go away with AI, which I think there is to an extent. But if you don't know what good copy is, like the people who really cook are the copywriters who are good that use AI. Like those guys they're balling right now because they know how to talk to the AI and they know what a good output is. Most people don't know what good copywriting is, and so they just copy and paste whatever GPT or Claude throws at them, and it's just trash. So it's like messaging is super, super, super important. So having a really good copywriter or someone that understands how to keep attention is the most important thing. I don't care what other things you add. If the messaging sucks, the page isn't going to convert. And then the other thing that I would say is the imagery and just making sure it's congruent. We see a lot of the times people talking about certain claims and then they just have like no visuals to show them. So I think the visuals elements that you put on the page are super important. And then after that, design and all of the bells and whistles can come in with like the timers and this and that. I think a lot of people get caught up in, hey, what's better, a red button or a green button? Where it's what's really going to convert is again the offer like we've just talked about, or the messaging and the visual components. You wouldn't believe how many people run or build LPs and it's like their product carousel. And again, this kind of goes into like the above the fold. They've got like 3 photos in their product carousel, and like they sell a supplement and there's like no nutrition or no ingredients in the product carousel. So there's just I would say on that point as well, logistical things too, like having a really good FAQ and just thinking like what would stop someone from purchasing. I think True Classic does a really, really good job of this, where they just put everything on there. They've got like 3 different size guides even for you to like find the right size, because they know sizing is super important. And they say, how tall the model is and what size he's wearing and if it runs big or runs small, all that kind of stuff. So logistical stuff too. I know that was a bunch of things, but bundling all that stuff together, it's not just really one thing that makes an LP work. It all kind of works together. So those elements will, especially with a strong offer, will usually help you have the highest converting page.
No, that makes complete sense. Can we kind of go to the stage before now and talk about creative? You mentioned before the kind of 2 different types that you guys are focused on. Can you just double tap on that and explain in kind of more detail why.
Yeah, 100%. So what we have basically is a content engine that is it's UGC. But what we're doing is we're working with creators to have them bring net new concepts to life, basically. And so we have a UGC manager that manages that, and we've tried a bunch of different types of UGC. There's a lot of people that do storyboards and do scripting, and what's really taken off and has been crazy has been TikTok Shop. And so I feel like right now UGC, like the old version where hey, you pay a creator $100 for a video, you write them a script, they bring it to life, that's just dead. Honestly, like if you ask me, I think that's dead. And I say that because can it still work? For sure, but I think looking at what's happening with TikTok Shop, it really opened up my eyes to be like, whoa, okay. There's guys making, if nobody knows this brand, their name is Comfort, ran by a guy named Hudson. He, I think he he probably said this, so I think I can say it, but he did $43 million in January, and the brand is 2.5 years old or something like that, and he doesn't do any creative strategy, which is the second point that I'll talk about. But he doesn't have creative strategy. Why? Why would I? Because he has a thing called TikTok Shop where he has creators where he gets 10,000 videos a week, a week, and he's making money while generating those 10,000 videos. So if you're somebody trying to compete with that on volume, a lot of guys say, "Oh, just make more ads, bro. Just make more ads." You think you're running volume? This like not only is it very expensive to run volume, but you're competing against a guy that's at just way higher levels of volume and he's making money. It's kind of like remember when Russell Brunson came out and he was getting paid to like acquire leads? It's
Yeah.
it's like that. It's how are you going to compete with that? You can't, you know? So the point is I think UGC is heading in that direction where that's where like bulk UGC is going to come from. And what he does is he just takes the top videos and he puts it in there. But he also has the intent piece. And so to come back to my point of what we're actually doing, we're just trying to find creators that we bring on as brand ambassadors. So they're right inside of our communication channels. They work directly with our brands and we're coaching them. And we're showing them like, we're giving them ideas and we're showing them what viral videos and like really good ads do. And I wouldn't say just ads in general, because that's another creative strategy thing that I'll come back to in a second. But videos that are pumping on TikTok Shop, as an example, that are likely performing well as ads. We're showing that, we're feeding that to our creators, and it's very intent focused. So everything that we're doing this year, like I feel like for me this year, it's the year of intent, where it's just dial in and go super deep. And so if you're working with one or two creators that can make really good videos for you, even 5 to 10 really good videos a month each, you're going to get 10 to 20 videos, but they're going to be super dialed in with intent. And then what that's actually going to lead to is what you care about, which is an ad that actually gets spend and scales your account, right? Because nobody wants 300 videos. They just want videos that are going to scale their ad account. You know what I'm saying? So many people get caught up in the volume game. And so it's very top of mind. I've just been talking about this with my UGC manager for the last 2 weeks. But that's the direction that we're going in, is like super high intent, coaching them, almost treating them like employee, like basically they are employees. But they're like mini creative strategists in their own, right? They do all we help them with ideas, but they kind of do their own script writing because they come up with their own concepts or come up with their own things to say. They do the filming, they do the editing, they do everything. And then we're just taking that and launching that inside of our social platform. So that's the UGC engine. That's the content engine that we have going. And I would say for anybody starting out, rather than paying an agency to click buttons for $2,500 a month or I've seen people pay $8,000 for someone to just click buttons in Meta and they're spending $100 a day. Take your $2,500 budget or a $3K budget and just go and hire a bunch of creators, get a bunch of content, and then pick the best one and just pay them like a $500, $1,000 a month retainer and put them on a performance program that says, hey, if we can spend X amount on your ads, I'm going to pay you X amount back. We usually pay like 10% of the first 10K. So basically we can pay someone $1,000 if they make a good video. And it's like, that will lead to so much more success than trying to media buy. So my point is that's the UGC engine. And for people that are just starting out, I would say that's what I would recommend, but that's the UGC engine.
Let's say there's a brand that's doing 500K a month. What does the structure look like of that kind of UGC team? Like, what would you guys do for them in terms of number of creators, how you find them, and time to ramp up?
I don't think it honestly for like even if we were starting at 0 or a brand doing like 3 million a month, it's kind of the same honestly with what we do, right? I have partners now that do TikTok shop because I've just realized like if you can do TikTok shop and you're not, you're just I don't know what you're doing. Like there's no other way to make money and get content other than TikTok Shop right now. And I think Instagram and YouTube are going to catch up and they're working on this. But shout out to my buddy Mark. He's crushes. He actually had the number one. He helped scale the number one or a brand to number one in February on TikTok Shop. Like just killer. Like and so I'm like, hey client, go talk to this guy and we'll take his videos and run them. But on your point, what we would do is we would go out and do some product seeding. Is usually where we start. So we use a platform called Incense. I've been using them for a very long time. And we go to Incense and we would launch a product seeding campaign. And now we've actually started launching paid campaigns. But it's all about the frame. And I could talk forever about this, but we're not saying like, hey, we're a brand and come work with us. We'll pay $100 and that's it. It's like we're really getting them excited. Like, hey, this is a huge opportunity. It's an up and coming brand. And a lot of people don't. A lot of people. I don't want to rant on it, but a lot of people don't value that. They don't realize that that's an important thing. Of is this actually something that's exciting and is going to seem like a cool opportunity because there's so many brands out there that just pay $100 for a UGC video and then that's it, right? Whereas like, hey, we're looking for a brand ambassador. We're going to be, you have an opportunity. We have creators making 5, 10K a month with us right now, right? So we're saying that we're like, hey, this is a huge opportunity for you. You can come and work with us. If you do a phenomenal job, guess what? You're going to get hired. We're going to pay you every single month and you're going to be able to earn a ton more. So when you apply to work with us, like give us everything that you have, try to make the best video possible. And if it goes great, you're like, we have another core value at the company called value first. And so we try to communicate that in all areas. It's like, hey, provide us a ton of value and we're going to take care of you. And so we're really talking about that in the actual product seeding and like paid campaigns that we launch on these platforms. And then the entire goal of that is to get those videos back, test them on Meta. And if any of them convert, we hire that creator right away and we bring them in house. We're going to onboard them 100%, and then we bring them on and pay them a retainer. And then again, we're doing exactly what I said. We're coaching them. And then if we don't find any videos that convert, we'll just kind of look for who has the most potential and who's the hungriest, and we'll likely onboard them anyways. Because the whole goal, again, whether they're doing 500K a month, 5 million a month, or 0, we just want to get a creator that we can start to coach. Now, I will say our brands that are like doing over 1 million a month, we usually have anywhere from like 5 to I think our biggest brand right now has like 15 creators that are in-house that we're paying monthly and we're coaching all of them. And to give you context, so Comfort has 500. And so the point is we're just trying to stack as many of those incredible creators as possible. So really the only thing that would change for a brand that's doing 500K per month is they have more budget. So we'll probably come in and do a paid campaign and spend like 5 grand on hiring creators so we can it's like hiring for anything. So we'll try to, we'll be able with that budget, able to hire like 100 creators or 50 creators, and then we'll bring them all in and we just get to pick the best one. So that's kind of the process that we would do. And again, it's the same process that just the brands that are doing more, we just kind of have more budget to use. So we just get to expedite things is all I would say.
Okay. And then before I interrupted you, you were about to start talking about the second part of the creative process.
Yeah, so that's again, that's the content engine. That's a whole thing, and this is like a new thing that we've implemented, and so there's a lot that we're learning with this stuff too. But the creative side is pretty typical. To I don't need to talk as much about that. The content stuff is more exciting, but creative strategy side is just us really diving into research, just obsessing over customers. Hey, understand the market awareness levels, understand the core desires that they have, understanding the competition and the sophistication in the market and what we're up against. And then from there, it's really just all about execution. I think the number one issue that people fall into with creative strategy is like they have all these great ideas, but they just can't execute it. Right. So we've been through, I can tell you how many people to find the team that we have now. But to give you an idea of like what our structure looks like, we have a creative director who's actually now a partner at the agency, and he started as a video editor. So I think most people underestimate video editors. Like a really good video editor can change your entire creative strategy because they're the one that's actually putting the things together. Right. And so he starts a video editor and now he's a partner at the agency. And so he's a creative director. He kind of sits on top. and then he has a copywriter underneath him. And so our copywriter just brings all the briefs to life. So we do a briefing process where, to go back, we actually have a call every week. It's about an hour and a half call, 2 hour call, where we have something called our growth guide, where everybody, so video editors that we have, creative director, so our guy, our copywriter, and then we have a growth strategist as well that kind of sits underneath me and sits on top of our creative director. Anybody can put their ideas in there. And then what we do is we pick which idea we want to go with. And so we'll have 10 ideas in there. Everybody will talk about their idea. Like, okay, what are the three that we want to do this week? We pick three of them, and then we put them into what we call working. And so that's when the copywriter will then write the briefs for those ideas. I say, and then from there, basically what happens is they get written up. Our creative director approves them. It's like, yeah, these look good. Those go to our editing team. So right now we have two video editors and one graphic designer. And so if it's a static, it goes to graphic designer. If it's a video, it goes to our video editors. And once we get that back, we have a revision process where we'll make sure that it's perfect and exactly what we're looking for. Again, we're focused on intent and making sure the ad looks really good. And then from that point, that's when it kind of goes into over to the clients, and clients will either review it, or some of our clients, they just trust us, so we just launch it. And that's kind of how the whole system functions. And we do that every single week. And so every single week, that's what we're doing on a cadence. And that's kind of how the creative strategy. So again, we're doing 3 to 4 concepts, and each concept has 3 variations, which is a small point, is take bigger swings on your initial variations. I see so many people, like if they test a static ad, they'll test like just 3 different headlines, but they're like, one has the, and then one doesn't. It's just so small, so micro. Like, take bigger swings because you don't know it's going to work yet. So we really recommend to, the people involved, and then also with our team, like, take bigger swings initially, see what works. Because the one thing that I didn't mention is you got to process learnings. And so every Friday we have another hour and a half call. My team loves me, but we go through every single ad that we made, not every single one, but we'll usually pick one loser. And if there's any winners, we always review the winners, and we'll be like, why didn't this ad work? Or why did this ad work? And then that completes our feedback loop. And that gives us ideas again for that call, where we look at all of our ideas. Okay, well, maybe we're going to do an iteration of a video that worked or didn't work. Right. So that's how we function. That's how we flow. And we kind of go through that. And that's honestly what carries a lot of the performance in the account. And for people that test the way that we test, where we have a scaling and testing campaign, what we look for is ads that get spend. And there's nothing like that rush of when you see a new creative start to suck up a bunch of spend and just crush KPIs. And now you can start scaling. It's like the best feeling in the world. And so that's kind of, creative strategy carries a lot of that. But again, the UGC can do that as well. And so can the CRO stuff that we talked on. All of that stuff is like, that's our goal, is to have it get spend, hit KPI, so we can scale. But on the creative strategy side, hopefully that gives some context of what we're doing.
Yeah, can I just clarify? So on the strategy side, are you also leveraging the creators that you've got on the kind of UGC side to come up with that creative, or is this like statics and kind of non UGC content?
Yeah, good question. So we do use the content that the creators make, but we're not using the exact video. So we'll take clips from it. A lot of the videos that we do, we obviously do statics, but our team right now, again, I mentioned storytelling in the beginning. We do a lot of AI voiceover ads. So it's like we get a AI voiceover. We use a tool called 11 Labs, and then from there we put the brief or put the script into that, and or the script specifically, and the AI says it. And then our editors will pull clips from a bunch of different places, from our existing UGC content, random places on the internet, or we use a few different platforms as well, and we build an ad, a video ad ourselves. And so that's the videos that we usually pump out, and they most of the times absolutely crush. And then the statics are just statics, but the UGC, the content engine that I explained, is kind of its own thing, although they do cross. So like, our UGC manager is on the call with our strategy team, because if we have an idea and we're like, oh, this could be a really good idea for X creator, we'll just send that idea to the creator. And then depending on how the creator does, if it does well, then maybe we'll recreate it. That's happened a lot as well, where we see a UGC creator come up with an angle that we didn't think about, and then we'll just make it better through our creative strategy team. But we don't specifically write briefs or write scripts for our UGC creators. If that's what you were kind of asking, we don't really do that. We kind of let the creators do their thing, and if anything, we just give them an idea, and then from there, our creative strategy team just focus on AI voiceover videos.
But okay. You also mentioned kind of variations there. Could you just talk to how you kind of split out, I guess, your testing of new macro creative versus testing variations?
Yeah, this is something I could talk about a lot of things forever, but to keep it simple, the initial swings that we take, we try to just broaden the concepts. So, for example, a concept that we did for one of our brands was a superlative concept where basically we were making these claims. And we went from the world's cleanest humidifier, which was like one swing, to rather than saying the cleanest humidifier and then this is the cleanest, like dumb, like super small things like that. We just took bigger swings. So we went like world's cleanest humidifier, and then we went first doctor designed humidifier, and then we went the world's first stainless steel humidifier. So we tested three different angles, and from there we saw that stainless steel worked the best. And we're like, oh, interesting. Okay. Well, we looked at that static, and then what we did now after we saw that ad actually did something, when we did an iteration on it or variation or iteration, just like some small tweaks, we tested then more granular changes on the headline or on the visual that we were showing. And then when we did that, we actually found a new visual performed better. But while we were doing that, we also did a variation, which was a video form. But something that a lot of people don't tell you to do, which I would say you 100% need to do, is ask yourself, why? Why is stainless steel working? Most people don't think that. You'd hope they would, but that's why we process learnings. But for example, we went and researched like why do people care that it's stainless steel? We had no idea. We're like, well, we know it's a feature, but like why do they care? And we realized like most people just didn't know that was a thing. And then other people just realized that they hate the microplastics in humidifiers. And then other people said it just makes it easier to clean. And so we started doing research on platforms like Reddit and YouTube and Google and just all these other places. And we just got all of this information because, again, we were curious. We asked why. I always say ask why and then ask who. So ask why is something working and then ask who is this for. And so we did that. And then we also asked who, and we realized it was mainly for moms. And so what we did is we then made a variation video that was must have humidifier for moms. And then it's like stainless steel edition or something like that. I can't remember the exact hook. And then we made a video talking about all those pain points that we discovered. It's like, I never used to buy a humidifier because they used to have microplastics. And then my friend told me about this one that was stainless steel. And again, this is all AI voiceover, but we went from this initial big swing of testing those three different claims to small iteration to then video that was backed by a ton of research focusing on that. And that ad specifically is, spent over six figures for one of our brands. And
Wow.
so the point is that's hopefully like that example makes sense of how we go through the process. So we kind of start bigger and then we go smaller. But the most important thing is don't just look structural, be curious and like go and research more about why certain things are working in your account. That's like the best thing that you can do.
Is there a way to kind of order your thinking here almost in terms of I get that the first point is, angle. And then after that, I'm getting, formatting, reasons why, type of ad, demographic, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, is there a way you can put that in a better structure maybe?
Yeah, we're a little we're not really I'd say we are structured, but at sometimes we're not super structured. I think the most important things are what are you saying in the ad? So the angle or the concept, like what is this about? And then from there, who are you saying it to? So your avatar is something super important to consider. And then from there, the format is just kind of secondary. It's like, how do you see this coming to life? Do we think we could communicate this in an image, or do we think we need to make a video? Those are kind of like the three things that we go through. But again, when it comes to, I'm not sure if you're talking about like the iteration or variation process, but yeah, most of the time, like if you're looking for something structured, it's like we have an idea, we'll just test it as a static and see if that gets any bites. And then if that does get bites, then we usually work it into a video. That's kind of like the baseline of our creative strategy of how we process things. But there are still times where we're just like, hey, I think the only way to communicate this is with a video. So we just crank up a video and we let it rip.
Okay. Let's say at that point, then you've got a successful angle. You know who you're talking to. You've communicated it well, and that kind of ad concept angle, all of the above, is taking off. How are you introducing variations of that?
I think again, we're just trying to understand why it works. I would say the one thing that we do is we build a better LP for it. Is we build like a congruent landing page for it, and maybe even build a congruent offer, offer specifically for moms or something like that. But how we're creating variations from it, I'll give you an example of where we did this one angle for a brand where it was focused on. I can't say. I'll just say like the caffeine industry. So we were like attacking the caffeine industry, right? And we're saying like they are trying to blah 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 blah. And so we could keep doing iterations on caffeine specific angles, but we're like, hey, let's just kind of take this same kind of like educational style of video, and then let's not focus on caffeine. Let's maybe focus on like cigarettes or something, or like just a different big industry, or like energy drinks as like a specific. So like we'll create a variation from that of like different type of video. So I mean, long story short, the point is we're not just looking to make structural changes of just, hey, let's just change this headline. Again, we're just trying to be curious. We're trying to understand why things work, and then be like, how can we take this idea, this broader idea, and apply it to other angles as well? Or how can we take this, again, educational style ads absolutely crush because it positions you as an authority. So I'm like, where else can we go be an authority and educate people on something that they don't really know about? So that's how we've been taking bigger swings, I would say, from looking at ads that are working and just be like, how can we find other audiences or other pockets? So as much as we do structural and small little tweaks and changes, we're also trying to, again, look at other big audiences or other big pockets that we can go after.
So this to me is an interesting answer, right? Obviously, we don't cover this kind of end of the funnel. Everyone else I speak to, they seem to spend a lot of time testing, someone with a different color t-shirt on, these very small kind of variations. How important is that? Because what you're saying seems to be a lot more kind of macro focused than that.
Just depends on what you're trying to do. Like, to give you context, we're working with brands most of the time that are spending over $100,000 a month. Got brands spending up to $1 million a month, like spending. And so a small iteration of changing your t-shirt or changing one little thing for them probably makes more sense, because 2% or 10% of $1 million a month in spend is, $100,000 in spend. It's pretty significant. But for most brands and people watching this, depending, again, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe there's a whale watching this, but most people are probably not spending $1 million a month. So if you're not spending $1 million a month, if you say you're spending like 20,000 a month or 30,000 a month, 10% increase from a small iteration gets you to 3,300, or sorry, 33,000, which is like, that doesn't excite me. You know what I mean? Like I look at most accounts and I'm like, how can I 10x this account? Right? How can I blow this thing up? Because that's what most people want to do. Even if you're spending, again, 30,000 a month, or let's just use for the sake of simple numbers. If you came to me and you're spending 10,000 a month, I'd be like, I don't even make money for you until I spend 110. So again, the way that I'm looking at things is just different. I'm not looking at it from the idea of let's make a small little tweak and see. I'm like, we need to do something that's just huge. And so I'm just trying to think bigger. And it's kind of the idea, you've maybe heard some successful people say this before, where if you had to build $100 million company, you would probably build it a lot different than if you were to try to build, a company that does $100,000 a year. It's like if you just wanted to do $100,000 a year thing, you would probably just freelance. Whereas you can't freelance your way to $100 million company. It's just not going to happen. And so it's the same kind of idea. Like whenever I come in, I'm looking at trying to dramatically scale and increase things, because that's what I know is going to keep clients with us, because our whole thing is we're expediting the growth. We can grow 5 or 10% year over year. Cool. But we're trying to double the sales for our brands. Right. So you just have to think a little bit differently. And so I don't really get caught up in these small little tiny tweaks. Can they matter? Sure. But for most people, you need to be taking bigger swings to do something different.
Okay. So focus on the big levers is the kind of takeaway here. Okay. Next question is AI. So in this process of, offer, landing pages and creative, how much are you guys using AI in that process?
A ton, honestly, a ton. My one thing I will say on this is, if you do not have a skill set, AI doesn't, it's not really going to help you. Because if you don't know what, it's kind of like what I was talking about with copywriters. I mean, AI can obviously help you, but the point is if you don't understand what a good ad is or what a good brief is, you haven't done it yourself, you don't have the context, AI is just going to spit out whatever it thinks is good. And the problem is AI has so much information. It's very hard for it to actually write really good things. If you're just like, most people go, hey, this is my brand, write me a script that will make a winning ad, enter. Right. And it's just, and then they just get back some stuff. And so to answer your question, we use it a ton, but I just wanted to preface this with, you maybe should use AI if you don't have a skill set of like how to write good briefs or how to write good lines, because you just need to know what good looks like. And I'll give a really good example, because when I was prompt engineering for, we have like this little mini AI program in our community as well. I was prompt engineering, and this prompt, like I just, it's like a 10-page prompt. It's huge, like it's massive. And well, actually not that massive, but for me it was big. And I was like, I put it in and it just wasn't spitting it out, wasn't spitting it out. And most people, the problem is like, because I knew what like good headlines look like and what good hooks look like. Most people would be like, oh, this works. Let me just plug it in. Right. But I just kept iterating, kept changing the prompt, kept changing the prompt. And then it was like, boom, like I got it to actually get exactly what I was looking for. But unless I had the skill set or the lens to look through, we use that analogy a lot. Like the lens that you look through to see things is probably not the best. So you got to correct your lens. Unless I had that, it'd be very hard for me to know that the AI was actually doing good work. So with that said, we use AI in a ton of ways. So we use it with almost every single script or every single brief that we come up with. And we also use it in a lot of our landing pages that we build as well. But again, our guys that are using it, they understand what good looks like. So that's the most important thing. We're also using it to analyze ads as well. And so the most important thing to understand with AI is you have to give it examples, and you have to show it like, hey, this is an ad. Like we had an ad that spent $50,000 in a day, one single ad. It was an evergreen ad. And we gave that to the AI and we're like, this ad spent $50,000 for context. Okay. Break this down, every single component. And a really good way to break down video ads is actually Gemini. A lot of people are using ChatGPT and Claude. Gemini is sick for videos. So, for example, we'll take that and we just give context and we just feed the AI these banger videos. And then from there, we're like, okay, now you notice all of this, right? Here's a video that we launched that didn't work. Why do you think? And it's like, oh, well, it's missing this, 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 and that. And so now it's like it has the context of what great is. And then we're able to give it, our video that we thought was great that sucked. And it's like, well, here's why it sucked based off of these videos, right? So the context that you give it is super, super important. The examples that you give it are super important, because it needs to be you need to be very clear when you're talking with it. But that's one way that we use it. Again, like I said, we use it for landing pages, the same kind of thing. Hey, here's a landing page that's converting really, really well. We would like to rewrite one for this brand instead. And then the most important thing as well is like, give it tons of context about your brand as well. Don't just be like, this is my website, or copy your product page description. Like give it your reviews, like give it your research, right? And that's why I'm such a big fan of like even doing research. It's an Alex Ramosi saying where he says like, your work works more on you than you work on it. That's stuck with me for life. But I kind of say that to my team on the research side, where I'm like, the research that you do works more on you than you work on it, because you become the person that understands all of this stuff, right? So, for example, I know nothing about, let's just say, being a veterinarian, right? And if I were to go and ask ChatGPT, my dog has these symptoms, what do you think it is? And it just like spits out this stuff. Maybe it's accurate, maybe it's not, but I don't know, because I don't know anything about like, but if a veterinarian saw that, they'd be like, no, that's not accurate at all, right? And so that's kind of that's the biggest thing. And I know I prefaced with that, but I think for us, we're just able to correct the AI a lot. But when we give it examples, that's like the sauce for us. That's unlocked a lot of really good outputs for us to use. And then I would say another way that we're using it, as much as I said the research point, we are using it to do like deep research now on ChatGPT, where it's just going to pull like a bunch of stuff. But again, we're actually processing it. We're actually reading it, and we're like taking notes. We're not just telling GPT to do deep research and then throw it into another AI and be like, all right, now make me ads. Like we're still going through and reading and processing a lot of the research as well.
Okay, nice. I want to talk now about Evolve, so the community that you guys have built. Could you just talk through super high level what you're doing with that and what the kind of goal is?
Yeah, 100%. Where do I start? Yeah, I think the goal of Evolve is just to try to help as many people understand why things work, and simply put, like just to become better marketers. I think so many people, I'm guilty of this. We learned Facebook ads. You know what I mean? Facebook ads is a skill for clicking buttons. But Facebook ads, or Facebook in general, is also just a tool, you know? So it's like giving someone a hammer, right? And just being like, just hammer away, right? And that's what a lot of people do. But unless you were actually like, you were like an engineer, for example, or you built out the blueprint of like how to build a house. This is another random analogy. It's like you could do a lot more with that hammer, because you know what you're building, you know where you're going. So Facebook again is just it's a tool for marketing. And so if you just learn how to become a good marketer, Facebook ads are so easy. Like I could take anybody that actually has a marketing career that has never seen Facebook ads before. I could teach them, like they would be the best Facebook media buyer out of like anybody that you would know, because I would just teach them how to like use the tool, and then his marketing brain would be able to make ads and creatives that just absolutely crush because he understands marketing. And so I think our big mission and goal with Evolve is to help people evolve to that, because becoming a great marketer takes time. And so like our whole motto is about like, it sounds cheesy, but like getting rich for sure rather than quick. Like we have the quick like scratched out, because so many people are just trying to find the quickest way to make money online, which I get it. Like you're trying to make money. It is what it is. But if you actually learn skills and you action those skills, you're just going to make so much more money. And on top of that, you could lose everything tomorrow and come back and do it all again because you got the skills. And so we're just trying to help a lot of these guys that are, I mean, dude, there's people coming in that are doing like 600, 700K a month that have no idea what they're doing. They have no idea. They've like ripped a couple of like TikToks and, they just scaled it like crazy. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, I don't know what to do. And so like the problem with that is like they just don't learn. And so we just help them understand why things are working. And it's really cool because in like 3 or 4 months will go by after someone's in Evolve and we show them the same ad. He's like, oh yeah, it's got this, it's got that. It drives curiosity, it builds suspense. I've got this or that. And then they just figure out why things work. And so that is, I think, what we at the core help people do. And then I would say on top of that is just trying to, that's what another thing of, again, it's kind of on brand for Evolve is like the program's always evolving. Like we're adding new modules and new things and doing weekly calls like every single week. And I'm also learning a lot of stuff too, because we're doing so much in the agency. And I think the space changes so fast, like it's really hard to keep up. And so this monthly version that we have, if you were to buy Iman's e-commerce program, and I love Iman. I mean, I don't know if I can say it. I mean, I've got respect for Iman, but the point is like if you were to buy his e-commerce program from 2020, it's probably not really relevant now. You know what I mean? Like, so it just courses go dry or like become outdated so quickly because of how fast the space moves. And so when we built this, we wanted to build it in a way where it's like it wouldn't get outdated. It's like it's getting updated all the time. And again, it's evolving. And so the point is with Evolve, we're just trying to help as many brand owners, or I call them glorified Facebook. I mean, a lot of people are just Facebook ad buyers that have an e-commerce store. that's what they are. So we're trying to help as many of them as possible, like actually understand why things work, and then help them make a ton of money in the process. And ideally, build a great brand that can have impact and do good and less bad. I'd say that's kind of the overall spiel of Evolve. And at the end of the day, I feel like for me, just to give you context as well, because this, if I had, like, we have 260 plus people in Evolve right now. If I had 260 brands at the agency, no shot. I would need like a 500-person team. So I'm just able to help way more people by just telling them what we do. Like, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what's working for us. Here you go. I never really tell people it's the best way to do things or the only way to do things. I'm just like, hey, this is what we do. This is the results that we got. And hey, you guys can do it too. Here's exactly what we do. Go and implement it. And a lot of these guys, are already running their Facebook ads. So I'm like, you don't need me to run it. Just figure out how to run it better. I was like, what you need is probably someone to go and source you a product or like find you a product that is, really high quality. So long rant put short, it's just really about helping people become better marketers and understand why things work.
Nice. Can you just talk to kind of how you are transitioning from that kind of agency model you talked before, 30-person team, down to where you are now and kind of the growth of Evolve and where you see those two kind of pieces of the puzzle fitting together?
I think, as I was saying before, they just fit perfectly because we are now more of a speedboat rather than like a cruise ship. When I say like from like a team size standpoint, we've got a team of 15 now where I can talk to everybody. I know everybody. Everybody's like, family almost, compared to 150 where it's very corporate structure and stuff like that. So by having the team just tight knit, we're able just to do a lot of cool stuff. And that's how I see the agency as now. And obviously I'm very, very grateful for how well Evolve does, because that makes it a little bit easier. But it's like I don't need to do the agency anymore. I do the agency because I like it. And it's like I get to nerd out and I get to hang out with cool people and we get to do a bunch of cool shit. And so from there, the cool shit that we do, we just go and share with the people involved. And the other thing, the beauty of content, what we're doing right now, we can just go talk about it. Like we go on Twitter, we go on YouTube, and we're just, hey, here's what we're doing. And then people are like, hey, can I buy something from you? Sure, here it is. You can go and purchase it. And we don't right now, we don't sell to people that are doing less than 50K a month. Most people that we say if you're doing less than 50K a month, just go to our free program. We might be working on a different version of it. But the point is yeah, they I think they work really well because I grow in the agency and we stay on top, we stay really sharp. And then that allows us to have a really good consulting program because like we're actually doing it. You know what I mean? And people can actually talk to me like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, this is what I'm doing. And so it's not like I'm sitting on this throne and I have all these people and nobody could talk. It's like I'm people say in the trenches, but like, I'm just in the trenches, but I thrive there. Honestly, like I just enjoy it. And I feel for me, I get a lot of, I don't want to say meaning. It's a little M meaning. That's what Hermosi saying, but it's like I get a lot of fulfillment out of just getting good at things because at the end of the day, it's like a lot of stuff is hard. Like we're basically printing money. Like that's what advertising does. It's just it allows you to. It's like predictive gambling in a sense. It's like you're just putting money in and getting money out on repeat. It's pretty cool, right? And so that's where I think for me, I just enjoy it, and I think anytime I can find a way to just do it even better, that's what excites me. And so they work well in that case because it's like I get to have fun, I get to nerd out, I get to have an incredible service. It's like now when anybody joins the agency, it's like they're probably going to be with us until they sell the business. And we kind of set that frame up front. It's like, listen, we're like a partner now. Like we're going to come in. It's not if we're going to get you results. It's like how fast are we going to get you results? Because we just come in with so much confidence, and we say no. If we probably have, I don't know, 100 people apply to the agency a month right now, and we probably accept maybe one, sometimes none. Like we're so particular with the brands that we work with because we're looking for like really long, strong partnerships that we can, just do great work for. But again, not going off a tangent, but another point, that's how they kind of work together. It's like we get to do a lot of cool stuff and then we get to share it with the people in there and it's up to date and it's like what's actually working. And so that's why a lot of people stay in there every single month to see what's going on.
Okay. So just to clarify, it's almost like a flywheel. You've got, a few super cool brands that you work on at the agency. You talk about that, that's the content, that's the lead flow. And then you've got this kind of education platform on that back end, which just kind of feeds that loop.
Exactly.
Okay. And then I'm assuming the goal is to transition from, agency that works with client brands to agency that grows your own brands. Is that spot on?
Yeah, I would say so. I think that's kind of what we're working towards because we have a lot of people say like, why don't you just start your own brand? Like we have people, we had a guy throw a screenshot in there yesterday. He joined us. He was doing like 40K a day or something like that. He threw a screenshot in yesterday, did 215 or something like that. He like 5X his business just doing what we told him to do. And we get those guys like, you guys know you can make a lot more money if you just did this for yourselves, right? I was like, yeah, we know. So, but like again, like I was saying to you before, the grass is always greener. So we have a lot to figure out over there. And I've got my, Sean's over in China right now, like going through. So that it's in the process. But it's like anything for me. The product has to it just has to be sensational. Like it would be so easy for us to just go on like Callow data or some random site and just drop ship some random crap from Alibaba and scale it to a couple $1,000s a day and make more money. But I just don't really want that to be associated. Like I want the products that we have, and again, I also want to document it. And so, for example, in ecom, most people keep their products secret because of that. It's like, oh well, this guy's doing a million a month with this product from AliExpress. Like I'll just do it too. You know what I mean? So we want to kind of like I think innovate a bit of our own product so we can document the whole journey. That's kind of going to be the goal of what we're kind of calling Evolve 2.0 is watch us literally build a brand from zero, like don't even have a product to ideally 8 figures a year. That's kind of what we're going to try to document. And I think that seems like a lot of fun. And I don't really think anybody's actually like documented the inside. Some people document like day in the life, but nobody's ever done like, we're in China right now, sourcing this product. And here's what I did on Ads Manager today. And here's this and here's that. And so the idea of that is like, if we can accomplish that, it's like, okay, well, the only thing that's limiting you is one, how to do it. So here's how to do it. And then, the skill set to do it, which we can also show them through kind of the original version. So that's kind of where we're heading towards.
Okay. I want to talk now about partners. So you've mentioned Sean a couple of times. Can you just walk through the backstory, how you guys met, and what the kind of split is today in terms of what you guys do together?
Yeah, so I met him on Upwork in like 2021, I think. I was working with this media buyer, of course, from Iman's group as well. And I just realized what he was doing was not that complex. Like I think I was paying him like £400 a month or £500 a month, which for me at the time was like $1,000 Canadian. And I was only charging clients like 2,000. So I was like, dude, I'm giving this guy 50% rip. And he's spending like 5 minutes a day just like launching ads. I think I can do this. But I was a little nervous. So I went out to try to find another media buyer. And then I came across Sean. And I think at the time I interviewed like 4 people. And what stood out to me about Sean is, and at the time he was 18, I think. I think I was like 22, or he was 19, something like that. And he told me like, oh yeah, I've been media buying for like a few years. He was just fluffing it. But anyway, yeah, he asked me questions. Now I thought that was super cool. And so I guess for anybody that's like trying to nail a job, like maybe come prepared with some questions, because he was like, so what's this about? What about that? And so that stood out to me. And then yeah, kind of fast track. I mean, he's been with me since 2021. So we had this one brand that we tried to do media buying for, and it just flopped. And we had funny thing about that story is the next year, for some reason, he hired us again. And then Sean literally edited the ads and like came up with the videos. And then that one video went and did like $1 million in sales for the brand. And that's when me and Sean figured out the creative stuff. But we've kind of just figured things out together. And I remember asking Sean, because Sean had a few other clients that were actually paying him good. I think at one point I was only paying him like $1,000 a month. I was like, bro, why are you here? I was like, I'm a sinking ship, man. I was like, I don't know if this is really like, this is probably not worth your time. He's like, honestly, Spencer, he's like, I learn a lot here. He's like, I enjoy it. Like I learn a lot. And so yeah, 2022 we did that. 2023 same kind of thing. He was just like, he went from media buyer and video editor and everything to just a media buyer. And then as we got more brands in like 2023, he kind of went into like this strategist role. So we had like a media buyer underneath him, and we had some script writers and stuff. And then 2024 he was what we called like head of performance at the agency. And so he was still kind of dealing with some brands and kind of like managing the strategists that we have. And then in 2025 I fired him. I said, Sean, you're fired. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, get out of the agency, bro. It's a running joke that we have that I fired him. But yeah, so he's still a partner, like he still owns part of the agency, but he doesn't do anything there anymore, which is nice. So he just right now is like 100% focus on, he's kind of acting as like the CMO, as he does like marketing on Twitter and stuff like that to get deal flow and that kind of stuff too. But he's just 100% focused on Evolve now, and he still jumps in on our calls at the agency, like what's going on, guys? Like, what are we talking about? All this kind of stuff. So he stays sharp through that. But yeah, right now he doesn't actually do anything day to day at the agency, so he's fully removed, and his main focus is just on Evolve, and now, of course, kind of like the brand building side of things. But that's kind of how we evolved. And he's a great guy. He's somebody that I'm very, very grateful and very lucky to have met, because he, Evolve wouldn't be what it is. We have people all the time say like, holy cow, like this is the best. Like I've been through every program and this person's program. This is the best programmer. Like, dude, I can't believe this is, only what it is. And like people love the product, but the truth is until Sean actually started not really marketing it, but like tweeting and picking up momentum on Twitter, nobody knew about it. And so without him, it's like Evolve is nothing. And so he's done just a phenomenal job of cultivating the community and going out and getting these people that just want to be a part of what we're building. And so it's a very like complementary partnership. And I would say, I mean, not that you asked a question, but anybody who is looking at getting into a partnership, having to be complimentary is like, I didn't need somebody else to like continue nerding out on product with me. Like I needed somebody to go and Sean still does that to a point, but like he's just a marketing genius and he does an incredible job. And so that's kind of his role in the partnership. And I'm just the nerd behind the scenes. A lot of people get into Evolve and they're like, wait, where's Sean? Who's this guy? And then at the end of it, they get both of us. But the point is that's kind of our partnership, and that's how it came about.
I love it. Can you just talk to that kind of content story? I know you guys have blown up, and you talked at the beginning about school games and stuff like that. What's the secret? How did you crush the content on Twitter, and I believe now YouTube as well, right?
Yeah, I think authenticity is really important. Sean is just him, man. Like if you want to go and check out Sean's Twitter, you're gonna laugh. He just leans into who he is, man. And I think that's super rare nowadays. A lot of people try to be like others, and he's just himself. But on top of that, he just provides a ton of value. Like he just tries to provide literally as much value as he can. Like if you really just went to his Twitter and just read everything he did, that's basically what's in Evolve. It's just Evolve's like more nicely put together, and there's a Discord for you to ask us questions and all that kind of stuff, and weekly calls and whatnot. But the point is he just shares everything. He's like, here's everything that we're doing. literally, like doesn't really gatekeep much. And so providing value, it's like that's all it's about. And again, I mentioned one of our core values is value first. Like just try to think about how can you provide so much value. And again, it's just a Hermosi thing. Every time I jump on a podcast or anything like this, I basically just sound like I'm regurgitating Alex the entire time. But it's like at the end of the day, he preaches this stuff for a reason, and it really resonates with me because I genuinely believe like, and you know what it's like, not to go off on a side quest here, but if somebody does something really nice for you, you're like you feel indebted. You're like, man, like I feel like I need to, like if someone just randomly pulled, like if I randomly pulled up and I was like, yo, I just bought you a brand new McLaren, Jordan, you'd be like, what the, like who's it, like what? Now you would feel in debt, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, and it's funny because like you think about that and it's like, for and with no context or no reason, but that's you can give a McLaren's worth of value online for free, and people will be like, I cannot believe like I just got that much value for free. And what ends up happening is they just start asking like, bro, what else do you have? Like, how do I give you money? Like I did a presentation on this in January at Eddie's event. Our biggest objection is where's the link? Like where do I join? Because people are just they're already sold because we've just given them so much value, and we have people commenting on our tweets and our videos all the time saying like, I'm going to keep scaling, and once I get there, I'm going to be involved. You're going to see me in 3 months. I'm going to be involved. And like they set goals to like want to just give us their money, which is crazy. But the point is like overwhelming amounts of value, authenticity, those two things is going to help you crush. And then the other thing is just doing cool shit. Like, I posted a video. It's now probably going to be one of my top videos. I posted it last week. I've never in my life had this, but I got 10,000 views in like 7 days or something like that. And it was just big numbers. I was like, we did $10 million in 90 days on Shopify. Like, here's the full strategy. So not only was it tons of value, it was also like at a high level. And so we were talking about how does the agency feed? Well, if I'm scaling brands to $5 million a month, anybody who's not doing $5 million a month, which is the majority of people, are going to be like, oh my goodness, I need to go listen to that guy. They don't even know who I am, but I'm automatically an authority. You know what I mean? So I think when you just do cool shit, or like if you have bigger numbers, those are always going to perform better. Like Alex Ramosi, what was he known as? The $100 million guy, right? People automatically trust him because he's worth $100 million. So the point is when you have bigger numbers to play with, that is also going to help you, I think, a lot with your content because it's rare. There's everybody in there. I don't want to go off on a too big of a tangent, but I see like even in Skool, I see these guys just like, I scaled my agency to 25K a month, and now I'm here to show you how to scale it yourself. It's like, bro, come on, like keep working on your agency. Like you probably, I mean, I'm all for education, but it's like, bro, it's 20. I mean, that sounds 25K a month is really good. But my point is, we scaled it to multi seven figures before we even started. And not only that, because like we don't even teach people agency stuff. We teach people eCom, but it's like we had scaled brands to 8 figures before we really started doing and telling people what we were doing. And even then, I'm not saying like we're the best at what we do. There's people that do 8 figures, in a week. I mentioned Comfort did 43 million in a month. Like if he went and built a consulting program, everybody would go and buy it because of the numbers. So value again, and that correlates with value, authenticity, and then just cool shit or like bigger numbers. Like the bigger, the better, more or less. Like a lot of our top tweets are just really screenshots. It's like a screenshot guy of just brands doing big numbers. Like that's what they want to see. You know what I'm saying? So those three things I think have really helped us, I would say, grow faster than usual. But yeah, if you go and check out Sean's Twitter, it's pretty funny. So add some humor in there, educational, entertainment, all that kind of stuff.
Perfect. Well, Spencer, we are coming up on time. I really appreciate you jumping on. This has been the quickest hour and 15-minute episode that I've done. I've learned a ton. Where can people kind of reach you, follow along the journey, and yeah, kind of hear more?
I was gonna say, I don't even think I didn't even give you a second to say a word, man. Oh gosh, you can find me on YouTube, Spencer, and then my last name. Don't even ask, but it's Pawliw. So you can search me up on there. I'm on Twitter as well, same thing. And I'm trying to get going on Instagram again. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, rather than Spencer, it's just Spence. Apparently, there's another Spencer Pawliw that exists on Instagram, so I got to settle for Spence. But yeah, I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Those are the three places where you can find me. And Evolve as well is on Skool. So that's, I mean, again, we usually only sell to people that are doing above, 50K a month, but there's people in there that are obviously doing around there. But that's the place where we kind of are the most up to date because we're all on Skool, and Discord is where I spend my entire day, like my girlfriend basically has to get Discord to contact me for the most part. But yeah, that's where I'm at, man.
And you have a beginner Discord or school as well, right?
We do. We have a free school. It's just Evolve free. So there's Evolve, which is the paid one, and then Evolve free, which is the free one. We're actually hosting a webinar on. I know this will probably be not out before then, but this Thursday. So it's I think the 15th of May. There will be a recording, but we have 800 people signed up for it. So I've got to go finish that presentation. It's like 115 slides or something like that. But we're gonna do a webinar of how to scale from 0 to 100K, and then that's gonna ideally just sit right in that free program for people to just get the complete, like, watch an hour 20-minute recording and just know exactly what to do. That's where now for me, because as you probably could tell, I can yap a ton. So I'm trying to, like, how can I condense my yapping into like an hour of just pure, like, here's everything you need to do, go and do it. Because I think that's where education is going to go to, is not about who can make the best, but like who can make the best plus in the shortest amount of time. So that's what we're trying to focus on too, is like just high value, feel like you're drinking out of a fire hose sort of idea. But yeah, Evolve Free is the community that we have right now.